in judging whether and how aggressively they should be used. For example, a means of providing additional monetary stimulus, if warranted, would be to expand the Federal Reserve's holdings of longer-term securities. Empirical evidence suggests that our previous program of securities purchases was successful in bringing down longer-term interest rates and thereby in supporting the economic recovery. A similar program conducted by the Bank of England has also appeared to have had benefits. However, possible costs must be weighed against the potential benefits of non-conventional policies. One disadvantage of asset purchases relative to conventional monetary policy is that we have much less experience in judging the economic effects of this policy instrument, which makes it challenging to determine the appropriate quantity and pace of purchases and to communicate the policy response to the public. These factors have dictated that the FOMC proceed with some caution in deciding whether to engage in further purchases of longer-term securities. Another concern associated with additional securities purchases is that substantial further expansion of the balance sheet could reduce public confidence in the Fed's ability to execute a smooth exit from its accommodative policies at the appropriate time. Even if unjustified, such a reduction in confidence might lead to an undesired increase in inflation expectations to a level above the committee's inflation objective. To address such concerns and to ensure that it can withdraw monetary accommodation smoothly and at the appropriate time, the Federal Reserve has developed an array of new tools. With these tools in hand, I am confident that the FOMC will be able to tighten monetary conditions when warranted, even if the balance sheet remains considerably larger than normal at that time. Central bank communication provides additional means of increasing the degree of policy accommodation when short-term nominal interest rates are near zero. For example, FOMC post-meeting statements have included forward policy guidance since December 2008, and the most recent statements have reflected the FOMC's anticipation that exceptionally low levels of the federal funds rate are likely to be warranted for, quote, an extended period contingent on economic conditions. A step the committee could consider, if conditions called for it, would be to modify the language of the statement in some way that indicates that the committee expects to keep the target for the federal funds rate low for longer than markets expect. Such a change would presumably lower longer-term interest rates by amounts related to the revision in policy expectations. A potential drawback of using the FOMC statement in that way is that, at least without a more comprehensive framework in place, it may be difficult to convey the committee's policy intentions with sufficient precision and conditionality. The committee will continue to actively review its communication strategy with the goal of providing as much clarity as possible about its outlook, its policy objectives, and its policy strategies. In short, there are clearly many challenges in communicating and conducting monetary policy in a low inflation environment, including the uncertainties associated with the use of non-conventional policy tools. Despite these challenges, the Federal Reserve remains committed to pursuing policies that promote our dual objectives of maximum employment and price stability. In particular, the FOMC is prepared to provide additional accommodation if needed to support the economic recovery and to return inflation over time to levels consistent with our mandate. Of course, in considering possible future actions, the FOMC will take account of the potential risks and costs of non-conventional policies, and as always, the committee's actions are contingent on incoming information about the economic outlook and financial conditions. Thank you for your attention, and I hope you have a great conference.
Thank you very much for those remarks. I think this gets the conference off to a very good start. We're going to take about a half-hour break to let some of the cameras clear the room. I would just do one other housekeeping item. As the cameras make apparent, things during the middle of the conference proceedings are on the record, but anything discussed outside of the room in terms of breaks or at meals is off the record. So just keep in mind during the conference, if you ask a question or if you provide a comment, that will be viewed.
The Fed chairman's comments, highly anticipated by investors today. As the Wall Street Journal reports, big bets were made in all asset classes based on the expectations of Chairman Bernanke's moves. The stock market could see a significant reaction today. That from the Wall Street Journal. Meanwhile, Bloomberg News paid special attention to Chairman Bernanke's comments about needing additional stimulus because of low inflation and high unemployment. The chairman mentioned the Fed's Open Market Committee. It will set monetary policy in upcoming meetings on November 2nd and 3rd. You can watch the Fed chairman's comments. We'll have them shortly online and available at cspan.org. We'll be going soon to a discussion on two perspectives on life in America, on the children of immigrants in America, from the Urban Institute hosting this event. The discussion will take a close look at the status of Mexican and Muslim children. We'll have live coverage for you shortly here on C-SPAN 2.